Once upon a time, there was a little princess, and the little princess was very lonely and very sad because she was not allowed to hang out with anybody else. She was not allowed to play with any other kids because she was the princess and they were not. So again, she was very sad, very lonely. But then one day, her luck changed when she heard a voice call out to her in the night from the ocean. It yelled out, Dionysia, Dionysia, Dionysia. So Princess Dionysia went to the beach to find out what was going on, and there she met a sea monster. Now before you get scared, the sea monster was very friendly, and she said, my name is Lipasmina, and I know what it's like to be alone. So I'm happy to play with you. I'm happy to be your friend. So they played together and were friends together for 10 years. They were up until the point where Princess Dionysia became an adult. Now, Princess Dionysia then was destined to be married to a prince whom she did not love. She was distraught by this. So she went to her friend and yelled out, Lepasmina, 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 I do not want to marry this man. And Lepasmina said, do not worry, my child. Go to the prince and tell him to marry you, he must bring you a dress made of the finest flowers from the finest fields. And after that, that's what she did. And the prince did it, and she was upset again. So Dionysia went back to Lepasmina and said, Lepasmina, 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 I do not want to marry this man. And Lepasmina said, do not worry, my child. Go back to him and say that you need a dress made from the stars of the night sky. The stars of the night sky. So she did, and the prince made the dress. Again, she was upset, so she went back to Lepasmina and said, Lepasmina, 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 I do not want to marry this man. Lepasmina said, do not worry, my child. Tell him to make you a dress that is the color of the prettiest fish in the sea. So she did, and the prince made the dress one more time. She cried out, Lepasmina, 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 what am I going to do now? I do not wish to marry this man. And Lepasmina said, do not worry, my child. With all of this time, I built you a boat. The dresses were just the buy time for me to finish making it. Here is your boat. It can sail you anywhere you like. Now, here's the thing. I am lonely just like you because I once was a princess as well until I was turned into the sea monster. Dionysia, in exchange for me helping you, can I ask a favor? Can you please help me become human again? On the moment of your wedding day, if and when you choose to get married, could you please yell out my name 3 times? Lepasmina, Lepasmina, Lepasmina. And then I'll be free. Dionysia said, of course, it's the least I can do to help you. So Dionysia sailed on her way, lived her life, and eventually did find somebody that she fell in love with, a prince that she did fall madly in love with and wanted to marry. And on their wedding day, as they got married, she was the happiest person in the world. And in her happiness, she forgot the entity that helped her the most. She forgot about Lepasmina. So Lepasmina was destined to stay a sea monster for the rest of her days. A very, very, very sad story. And that, my friends, is why when you go to the ocean, in the beach, you can hear a little moaning sound in the water. Some say that that's Lepasmina, distraught, still crying over how her best friend had forgotten her. That is the story of why The Simões. It's an old folk tale from Brazil. Um, so if you grew up as a child in Brazil, there's a good chance you would have heard this story. Um, I should introduce myself now. I am Chad Omby. I am the acting instructor for Next Star. And real quickly, I just wanted to talk about what it is we just did. So I told a story, right? It was a folktale based on Brazilian culture. And it's important because stories really tell us about the culture and the people that live in an area. So that's why they're so important, and that's why these stories are still around. They still tell the test, stand the test of time. So now, real quick, uh, as I told you, I'm the acting instructor. What we do as actors, what we do as performers, no matter what we're doing, whether we're acting, singing, dancing, it doesn't matter. We're telling a story. That is the bare basics of acting. Now, for me, um, storytelling is everything. The way I just told this story, there's a couple things I want you to remember. Every story has three things: a beginning, a middle, and an end. That's right. So the end is obviously important, but so are the beginning and the middle to really set up that end, right? You want to make sure that that end is really powerful, and you can't do that if your beginning and middle don't really build to that. So for my story that I just told, the beginning was you had a sad princess, she meets a sea monster, um, and they become friends, right? You got your middle. She's got to marry the prince she doesn't love, so she keeps going back to Lapis Mina, and Lapis Mina keeps having them make dresses to buy time for her to make the boat and sail away. And then you have the end where Lapis Mina is forgotten by Dionysia, and is stuck to stay in the sea forever. So um, you have your beginning, middle, and end. It also matters it also really matters that you use a little bit of emotion in your story. You need to have feeling in your story. If you're just talking, people are going to get bored, right? So notice how I changed my voice when I would go, when the whispering would happen, Lapis Mina, Lapis Mina, Lapis Mina. Or how I'd get upset when I was talking from Dionysus' perspective of, I do not want to marry this man. It's important that you show emotion because it really is going to help. The emotion is going to help drive your story. So if your story is a passenger in your car, the emotion is what's driving the steering wheel, if that makes sense, right? So I want you to think about those two things, and here is what your assignment is for today, okay? I want you to just make up a story. It can be whatever you want. I don't care. I just want you to make up a story, and I want you to go tell your mom and your dad your story. And remember, your story needs to have a beginning, middle, and end. Very good. And it also needs to have some emotion. So if you're talking from the perspective of a character who's sad, sound sad. If it's a character who's happy, sound happy. Sound scared. Sound angry. Have some emotion. One last thing I want you to remember also. It's important to have in a story stakes. Something has to be happening to matter, right? So, for example, the stakes for Lapis Mina and Dionysia were Dionysia getting married to this prince that she doesn't love, right? Pretty high stakes. That's pretty important, That's something you can really dig into. So, like, an example could be like if you tell a story about Superman, for argument's sake. It can't just be Superman destroying things. There needs to be some sort of issue that he has to solve, right? Maybe there's a bad guy that's got kryptonite that's going to make Superman really, really, really vulnerable and really weak, and he's got to overcome that. So when you're telling your story, you need to have a beginning, middle, and end, show emotion, and have stakes. Good luck telling your stories. I hope you liked mine. I really enjoyed reading it. And learning a little bit about Brazilian culture and, kind of what stories they would have told their kids. So, and probably still do. So that was a really cool thing I got to do, and I'm happy I got to share that with you. All right. I'll see you guys on Tuesday. Take care.